I think first aid is one of those things I think most of us overlook. And I don't think it's intentional. You just, who wants to imagine yourself or someone else having a serious injury that you need to take care of right there on the spot? I think most of us are just, hey, I'll take them to the hospital. You know, if it's bleeding, I'll put some pressure on it. I've seen enough medical shows on Discovery Channel. I can handle this and we'll just get to the hospital. But what if the hospital can't help you? What if you are actually on your own? We saw during COVID, God, hate to bring that up because I think most of us have some lingering PTSD from that. But we all remember how they were overrun. You know, we couldn't get away from the TV, the news, couldn't talk about anything other than how the hospitals were overrun with COVID patients. And oh my gosh, if you had an elective surgery, you had to push it off a year, 2 years because they were just so overwhelmed. And that was over COVID, which, however, whatever way you want to look at, end up being kind of not what they told us it was. There were definitely some sick people, but anyway, that's another video entirely. But let's say you can't get to the hospital, or if you got there, you know the wait is going to be incredibly long, and your family member or maybe your neighbor, they need some basic medical care now. Are you prepared for it? I got medical training when I was in the military, some advanced medical training, just based on what we were doing, what I was doing in there, my unit was assigned to do. And then of course, when I got out, I got some basic medical when I was a law enforcement officer. Not nearly enough. I wish they did more, but it was basic. And then, of course, whatever I accumulated since then has been on my own, which honestly, I could probably use a refresher because it's been a while. But the basics, you should really try to cover as far as equipment. Now what I have here, and you can see here, and I kind of opened it up. I didn't want to get too crazy with it as far as opening it up, and I just dropped my cheat sheet. But this is called an IFAK kit. IFAK, so individual first aid kit. I bought this on Amazon. You know, I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon. It's just easy. And I bought a couple of kits before this one, and I didn't read exactly what was in it. I do that a lot. I should probably not do it as much as I do. But I bought them, and they're still good kits, but they didn't have everything in there that I wanted. Well, I found this kit. The link's going to be below. And I think it's one of the better individual first aid kits out there. One, it comes in a really nice bag. So if, gosh dang it, I dropped it again. I should probably set this thing off to the side here. Get it out of the way. But it comes in a nice sturdy bag. So if you wanted to stick this somewhere in your office, like I have here, I have like a little first aid area here in my office. Or if you wanted to put it on a duty belt, like if you're going to be, you know, prepping kind of a battle belt or something where you wanted to have it with you when you're out in the field or out doing whatever you're doing, it attaches to the belt and it has all the basics. But I'm not going to go through every little thing that this kit has because that would take me forever. But most of them are going to have the basic bandages. You're going to have an abdominal pad, which is exactly what it sounds like. This particular kit has a sling, which is super handy. One of the things I found that the other kits I purchased didn't have, and this one did, was chest seals. So it's not just gunshot victims. You imagine getting shot in the chest and it pierces your lung, for instance. You have a collapsed lung. And you need to be able to seal that up so that whoever is injured can breathe. If you don't seal it up, they just pull air in through the wound. Well, anyway, this kit has 2 chest seals. These are not inexpensive. I ended up buying a separate chest seal. And while it wasn't crazy expensive, I mean, you're still looking at probably around 20 bucks again, links below. I just wanted some extra ones that weren't included in this kit. Emergency blankets, in case you're out, get caught out in the weather. A lot of variety of different bandages. But the bottom line is that this kit is a great start. Fantastic start. And everybody watching this video should really make sure they have some type of a basic first aid kit at home, because you just never know. And if things were to go bad, and I'm not this apocalyptic guy, oh my gosh, the apocalypse is coming. Some crazy stuff I think is going to happen in 2024, but will it get to that degree? I don't know. But if you're at least prepared with the basics, you can kind of weather the storm for a little while until you can get somewhere and get whoever is injured better medical aid. Now, this kit did not include you can kind of see here, but this is a stapler, basically a wound stitch kit. Anything, I mean, when I was in the military, there was an operation come up that we've been training for months, and I was going to be gone for quite a while. And I knew I was going to be gone for quite a while. It was common in the unit I was in. And my wife, she's like, there's some things you need to do around here to get so that I don't have to worry about while you're gone. One of them was doing some repairs to some electronics and stuff that was in the house. Well, I split my thumb. I don't know if you can see, but I split my thumb from here all the way to my fingernail. It literally opened up, and I knew I was going to need to have stitches, but I was hours away from deployment, and I thought, you know what, getting to a medic and doing all that, and I wanted to go on the training, so I was like, I'll do it myself. So I took some yarn and a needle, and with her help, she pinched it together, and I sewed it up kind of like Rambo and Rambo 1. Stitched it up, went out on maneuvers when I could. I got in front of a medic. He cleaned it up. Hey, good job. Actually congratulated me. Hey, I don't know if I could do any better. Let's just leave it alone. Doesn't look infected. But anyway, I survived, and I still have my thumb. But you want to be prepared with some type of stitch kit. So instead of just the individual first aid kit, you really kind of want to supplement it with some things. I think one of the things that you should put high on your list is some type of a suture kit. Now, I have two different kinds here. I have one that's more old school, where you have the thread and you have the kind of the vice grip, needle nose vice grips, and you kind of just feed the needle through and kind of do whatever you got to do to cinch it up. And then this is a staple kit. As you can imagine, you just kind of close the wound the best you can and chick, 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 chick. But I wanted to have both. I'm fortunate because my daughter is a nurse, and she's done a lot of this. She has a lot more, obviously, training than anybody that is in our immediate family. And so she's able to actually do this kind of stuff. So I kind of bought this stuff with her in mind, but you don't need to have a trained medical technician or nurse or doctor to get this stuff. Just get it. Put it away. Hopefully you never need it, but if you do, it's always there. And then I also, and this is, gosh, I wouldn't say back during COVID, but it was shortly thereafter, probably 2001. I thought, where are my holes in my personal medical kit here at home? And one of the things that popped out was antibiotics. What if somebody was to get an injury, step on a nail and get a puncture wound and it gets infected? Did I have any way of actually treating that person without having to go to the hospital and again dealing with all that? So I went and I found this company online, links below. It's called the Jace Kit. You go through the process on their website, super easy. And I wasn't sure at first whether it was going to be worth my time or if I was going to be revealing too much to this company about whatever, because you do have to fill out a questionnaire, and a doctor supposedly, I'm sure they do, I'm sure it's legit, it is legit. A doctor reviews it and says, okay, you're eligible for these things. And then they'll send you basically a gamut, a spectrum of different kinds of antibiotics, all in a kit. And there's a booklet that comes with it, and it talks about using this type of antibiotic to treat these type of symptoms, this type of antibiotic to, for this kind of thing. And so you kind of can look through the book you're going to have time. You don't have to administer these things in, life-saving time fashion or anything, but you can look through the book and kind of figure out, hey, what are the symptoms here? And then you pick the appropriate antibiotic for that particular illness or symptoms. So it's fantastic. So again, Jace kit. You've probably seen it online. They advertise quite a bit. A tourniquet. This kit comes with a tourniquet. However, it comes with one tourniquet. I suggest, and again, they're not super expensive on Amazon, links below. I would say have at least 5 or 6 laying around. You never know when you might need more than one. And if you only have one, you're going to wish you had 2. And if you only have 2, you're going to wish you had 4. It doesn't hurt, again, to have more laying around than you think you will ever use. And it's not just, again, I have to remind myself this too. It's not just myself or my immediate family. There could be a situation where your neighbors need your help. Your neighbor is mowing his lawn or he's fixing some type of equipment, which is common here in my neighborhood, and he gets a severe cut and he gets a heavy bleed and he needs a tourniquet. They'll have them available if something like that was to happen. And if he needs 2, sometimes it happens, you have 2 laying around. So just load up on those. This is a compression bandage. This is something that if you had a heavy bleeder on your chest or on your arm or something, but it wasn't arterial, where you need the tourniquet, you just need to plug it or put pressure on it, have some pressure bandages. Again, I bought these extra on top of this individual first aid kit, this IFAK kit. So there's my take on first aid. And of course, you can't cover every scenario, but try your best. That's my advice. Try your best. What if, God forbid, one of my family members was shot and had a sucking chest wound or just an abdominal wound? Do I have the things to help stop the bleeding until I can get them better medical care? What if a family member has a severe gash, is working on something and cuts themselves severely? Do you have a tourniquet? Do you have the basic things available to, if there is a delay on getting actual higher end medical care, to get you by? Do you have it at home? If you don't, definitely think about doing it. They're not super expensive. Again, this is my favorite IFAK kit. And again, the link's below, and it's $120 right now. I looked it up before I got on here so I could print out everything that I had on, which I dropped twice and never read. I more or less covered it. You can read that when you go to Amazon. It has a ton of stuff, and it's $120. It's a great start. And then you can just kind of start piecemealing everything else, just like I did. I hope this was a little bit educational. Maybe it got you thinking about, hey, what am I going to do? Am I covered first aid wise? You can take, what's also nice about these bags is you can stick them in your car. You can, get several of them if you have the money for it and stick them in different places where you don't have to go and hunt for it. So it's just really, really convenient to have this kit just sitting here ready to go instead of trying to make a kit kind of piecemeal.